So in the spirit of Mental Health Day, and tapping into those concepts of creating space in between your thoughts, Ahimsa, non-harm, and Santosha, which is like an all-encompassing acceptance and contentment. So it's just seeing things for what they are. This is where it is. This is it. And finding that space in between to be kind to yourself and give yourself that space to exist. So in that, we're going to begin this practice lying on our backs. So a few options here, and I want you to consider what's going to be best for you today. One is to have your legs extended, similar to if you're coming into a Shavasana pose. Another, which you might find more supportive, is to have your feet a little bit wider, and then let your knees knock in toward each other so that they're balanced. So if you're out too far, you might find like a kind of a crinkle in your hips, so you might want to walk your feet in a little bit closer. What you're looking for is less effort and more ease. So select one of these two options. Press down to the back of your head so you can slide your shoulder blades underneath you, and you can find a little bit more openness through your chest, a little more broadness. Allow yourself this openness and vulnerability. Please know that you are in a safe space. And then if it's comfortable for you, allow your eyelids to close. If you'd like to keep them open, then keep them open with a soft gaze. And then take a moment to scan your body, starting from the very top of your head. Come all the way down. Just taking a brief inventory. What's going on? Any changes that may have shown up from yesterday to today? Something that might feel a little unexpected, maybe. And then once you reach the very tips of your toes and soles of your feet, take that same journey from the bottom all the way to the top. And then begin to take more full inhales and exhales. Seeing if you can release even more through the tops of your shoulders so you can drift down, softening through your face. And as you're breathing, recognizing the kinds of changes that happen through your muscles and through your clothing, just how things feel as you breathe. Becoming a little bit more aware of these various sensations, such as temperature. Perhaps there's a fan blowing air on you. Maybe you can smell something. And then recognize the quality of your thoughts. And your thoughts in this practice today. Is there space where you can inject just a bit more kindness to yourself? Knowing that typically when we are able to care for ourselves and offer ourselves kindness, acceptance, and love, that we are able to then share that outward as well. If you're in a position where you take care of others, remembering that when you can take care of yourself, you're better able to take care of others as well. And as far as your intention goes today, if there's something more specific that you'd like to direct it to, feel free to distill down your intention or dedication to that one thing, person, concept. And then place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Take a deep breath in, feel your belly rise, lifting up your palm, coming all the way through your chest, lifting up your hand a little bit more. And exhale, slowly feeling that reverse path as your hands start to drift in a little bit closer down as you release the air from your body. Inhale, deep breath in. Exhale. And then once more. Reach your arms up above your head, and if your knees are bent, realign your heels in line with your hips and extend your legs out in front of you. So we all have legs coming out. Point through your toes. Flex. Maybe you feel your heels draw up and away from the mat. When you flex, can you also start to press your low back into the mat? Just finding a little bit of movement here. We're going to take a banana asana shape here. So walk your legs over to the right, arc your torso over the right, cross left ankle over right, right fingertips, index and thumb to your left wrist, and then start to draw your arm across your body, drop your left shoulder. On an exhale, uncross, come back to center, and then wander over to the other side, crossing right ankle over left, left index and thumb around your right wrist, or maybe you like to clasp your hands if that feels better, dropping right shoulder down toward the mat. And then taking everything back to center. Again, pull your knees in towards your chest first. So take your hands to your shins or to your kneecaps and just wave a little bit from side to side. So the tighter grip in you've got, the more of a hip flexor stretch you'll have. The looser grip you'll have, the more massage you'll have against your low back and your bum. So what is creating space for yourself going to mean for you today? We talked a little bit of boundaries before we began the asana part of this practice. Where does that boundary exist for you right now? And then pull your knees a little bit more towards your armpits. So you've got kind of this wider stance. So not with your toes touching, but it might feel a little bit more like a balasana pose, a child's pose, but on your back. Extend your left leg out in front of you. You can have your knee bent or extend completely out. Extend right leg up towards the ceiling. Interlace your fingers behind your right thigh. Flex your left foot, flex your right foot. As you're pressing your thigh into your right hand, you're going to use your hands to draw your leg closer towards you. So a garudasana variation here. Try to drive down your left hip and your right hip. So again, you're starting to engage your core. You might find a little bit of warmth starting to be created toward the center of your body here. Maybe even a little bit of shaking, both through your core as well as you draw your leg closer to you. On your exhale, release the tension of both legs. Bend your right knee. I'm going to take a gentle supine twist. Take your left hand to your right knee. Drop it over to the left. Feel free to adjust your shoulders and send your gaze over to the right. We'll be here for 3 breaths. After the 3rd exhale, take your right knee back up. Extend right leg out in front of you. Take a moment to simply acknowledge what the right side of your body feels like compared to the left, and then pull your left knee in, extend your left leg up. Again, feel free to bend your right knee if that feels better on your low back. If anything's going on, flex both feet, press both hips down. Interlace fingers behind your left thigh, opposite way. Start to draw your left thigh towards your chest. As you're starting to draw your thigh close to you, see if you can find the tiniest movements on your exhales. Pressing up through your left heel. And then release the tension of both the legs. Bend the left knee, right hand to left thigh, and then take a supine twist over to the right. Again, feel free to press your elbows to the mat to lift up your chest, and then take a bit of a twist so your left shoulder is dropped down more toward the mat. Option to use your right hand to place a little bit more pressure on your left thigh as well. 3 breaths once you get to where you're going. On your exhale, take your head and your knee back to center. Pull both knees in towards your chest. We are going to move to a boat pose, Navasana. So if you're like, I'm not feeling very energetic, just sit up and come to a boat pose. Otherwise, if you're feeling more energetic, hands to the backs of your thighs, rock up and down the length of your spine, and see if you can land in Navasana, bouncing on your hips. Yeah. All right. Flex your feet or point your toes or something. Do something with your feet here. See if you can keep your heels in line with your knees. Arms out alongside of you if you'd like. I'm going to be moving to an Ardha Navasana. Feel free to move with me. On an inhale, extend your heels out. Hover your heels, hover your back. Exhale, draw in, knees to chest. Get in as close as you can. Inhale, come out. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, come out. Exhale, draw in. We're going to get more fun. Inhale, come out. Hands together. Release your index finger. On an exhale, arms to the right, knees to the left. Inhale, Ardha. Exhale, take your arms to the left. Inhale, Ardha. Exhale, arms to the right. Inhale, Ardha. Exhale to the left. Once more on either side. So try to keep your heels lifted. Come back to Ardha Navasana. And then lift up, drop your feet, wrap your arms around your shins, drop your head towards your forehead, maybe your forehead touches. Give yourself this embrace, being thankful for this body, for everything it has done for you, bringing you to this moment. Then lift your head up, sit back, and then we're going to take a version of a baddha konasana. So take the soles of your feet together, knees wide. We're going to take the forward fold version, but like the softer one. So normally where I'd be like, scooch forward, get all intense, get less intense here. There's going to be a different intensity that shows up. So you've got a wider diamond from the base of your body, your hips to your heels. You're going to lean forward. You might find that it's helpful to take your hands to your thighs and your bum and just move your skin away. You're going to come forward, potentially with palms up, letting your spine curve and drop your head. If you find that this is not just a sensation, but it's actually discomfort, then use a block, place it on your feet so your forehead can rest, stack up your fists. But if it is accessible to just let your head drop forward, then that is my recommendation. Again, where are your boundaries? What is best for you? I am not going to know your boundaries like you will. And just the way that we took an inventory of our physical bodies toward the beginning of this class, can you do that here? Are you maybe feeling some tension in the muscles that come along the back of your head, near your occipital lobe? Does it go down your hips? Are you feeling it in your legs? Maybe one side more than another. Is this starting to reveal aspects of yourself that you were unaware of? Release a little bit more in your exhales. And then keeping your head heavy, if your palms are up, place them down. Start to press your way up so that your shoulders come up over your hips. And then finally, your head will lift up last. Take your hands to the backs of your knees to bring them up toward each other. You've been in that position for a little bit of time, and then rock over your hands and knees, coming to a tabletop position. We're going to take a cow-cat flow here. So make sure that your shins are parallel to each other. Shift your hips back like a modified child's pose. Your arms are out in front of you. Inhale, rise to your knees, palms lift up, slight back bend. Press down through the tops of your feet. Exhale, bow back to modified child's. Inhale, slither your heart forward, keep your belly down, hips and heart are up, gaze up for cow. Exhale, press up into your cat pose, creating space in your upper back. Send your hips back to your heels. Inhale, rise to your knees, slight back bend. Exhale, bow. Inhale, reach your heart forward, opening up to the front side of your body. Exhale, arching your spine. Press your hips back to your heels. Once more like that. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, take it low to your cow. Exhale, press up to your cat, and then come down to a neutral spine. Tuck your toes, press your hips back as far as you can go, and then when you're ready, lift your hips up, unfold into your downward facing dog. First inversion of today, maybe first downward facing dog, maybe it's your first inversion that you've done in some time. Take several breaths here, becoming aware. On your inhale, take your right leg up toward the ceiling. And then on an exhale, bring your knee to your nose, place your foot between your hands towards your right thumb. Drop your right knee down, and then take your hands to the top of your right thigh. Your back toes tucked or untucked, sink your hips down. Scissor your thighs together by pulling your right heel towards your left knee. And then you can choose to have your hands right here, or if you'd like, lift your palms up. If you're looking to open your heart further, if this is a part of your practice in caring for yourself, shrug your shoulders back. So you're exposing your heart a little bit more, maybe even bringing your palms behind you. Remember to keep the scissoring of your thighs to help your balance. Really press down with your left, your big toe of your left foot if you've got your toes untucked. On your next exhale, drop your hands down toward the mat. Take your left hand out just a little bit, and then inhale, right fingertips come up toward the ceiling. So you're in a low lunge twist. Wrap your inner left elbow towards the front of your mat. Really pressing down. Maybe you can lift up a little bit more here. Use your skeleton to your advantage. On your next exhale, take your right hand down to the mat. Shift your hips back. Ardha Hanumanasana, so half splits, half Hanuman pose. Scooch your right heel forward a skosh if you've got straight legs here. Flex your toes towards your face. Inhale, reach your heart forward. Exhale, dip down. Right hip is drawing back. For more zhuzh, draw your right heel along the mat like you're going to crinkle it between your knee and your heel. Inhale, lift up halfway, rebend into the right knee, tuck your back toes, and then on an exhale, step your left foot forward, forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, offer your heart. Fingertips press against something, use that support. Exhale, bow. And then press through your feet, reach your arms up toward the ceiling, send your chin upward, exhale, hands to your heart center, and alongside your body, Tadasana, 3 breaths. When you're ready, inhale, send your chin up, arms lift up. Exhale, bow. You can take a swan dive, offering your heart, or hands to the heart center. Inhale, halfway lift, look out. Exhale, fold, step back to the top of a plank pose, and then on an exhale, lower all the way down to your mat. Belly is down. We're going to take an open arm, cobra pose. Take your hands out, elbows up. Make sure your toes are untucked. Finger pads are pressed into the mat, so you get spider fingers. Forehead down. Inhale, prepare. Low belly in. Press the tops of your feet. Exhale, lift up. Head is heavy. Inhale, unravel. Exhale, leave it all the way back down. Once more like that. Inhale, prepare. Strengthen your core. Exhale, press up. Inhale, unfurl. Exhale, take it all the way back down. Press up through hands and knees to a child's pose. Really active child's pose here. 3 breaths as you reach your fingertips out in front of you. Wrap your inner elbows up. Press your hips back towards your heels. Find lots of stretch to the sides of your body. And then at the end of your third exhale, make your way back to downward facing dog. Deep inhale, full exhale. Inhale, left leg up and back, create space. Let's use it. Exhale, place your foot between your hands toward your left thumb. Drop your right knee down. First, place your hands on top of your left thigh. Scissor your thighs together, drop your hips low. Keep pressing through your right big toe toenail. And then if and when you'd like, arms lift up. Keep scissoring your thighs together. And again, if this is a part of your practice, shrug those shoulders back, create even more space, more of a back bend in your upper body. Press your hands toward each other. Maybe even slightly send your chin upward. Take the forehead out of your eyes and your forehead. Exhale, drop your hands down toward the mat. Take your right hand out a little bit so you can take an open arm twist. Lift up, wrap your inner elbow of your right hand forward. Look up towards your left fingertips. Exhale, take your left hand down. Walk the right hand in. We're going to take that half split, shift the hips back, flex left toes, maybe wiggling the leg forward. Inhale, reach your heart forward. Left thigh draws back, long through the left leg. Exhale, hinge forward. And see if you can point your elbows back so you can still reach your heart forward. You've got a little bit of that cobra shape through your chest even here. Rebend, lift up into the front knee. Tuck your back toes, lift up the back knee. Look forward, step your right foot forward, forward fold top of your mat. This time I want you to take your peace fingers and your index fingers around your big toe so your thumb is on top of the big toenails. Inhale, lift up halfway. You might need to bend your knees really generously for this. Feel your core engage. And then on an exhale, start to bring your chest toward your thighs. If you have straight legs here, or you find that your knees are bent and you're like, what do I do with my elbows? Bring your elbows out to the side, shrug your shoulders back. Shift the weight a little bit more into the balls of your feet as it might have shifted all the way back. And as many times as you need, inhale, you lengthen, exhale, you deepen. And you can use your hands against your feet to help you here. Find a little bit more resistance. Use this for yourself. Inhale, lift up halfway. Release your toes. And then you're going to take your arms up toward the ceiling. Press through your feet. Lift up, chin up, point up. Exhale, hands to your heart center. Arms alongside your body. Find your Tadasana. Take 3 breaths. At the end of your third exhale, inhale, arms lift up, chin is up. Exhale, forward fold. Breath in, offer your heart. And then exhale to honor yourself. Step back to the top of your plank pose. On an exhale, lower all the way down to your mat again. Take your arms out wide. We're going to play with this open arm cobra once again. So shoulders wrap up, Forehead is down. Inhale as you prepare your legs. Exhale, let your head heavy. Come up, lift up your head as you unfurl. I'm going to stay here for several breaths. Continue to press through all of the toenails of your feet. Wrap your shoulders back. Engage your core. Can you take the arc more up into your upper back rather than relying on what's happening down towards your low back? Just breathe here. If you find that you are in a position of having a lot of mobility here, you might consider straightening your arms more. Where are your boundaries? What serves you? What is going to be best for you? Not what makes like a pretty photo. And then when you're ready, on an exhale, wave yourself all the way back down. Bring your hands in close to your chest like you're gonna go for a chaturanga. And you're gonna press back to your child's pose once again, active child's pose. My variation, I'm taking knees wide. If you prefer to take knees together, that's totally up to you. Let your forehead drop. Lift up onto your finger pads perhaps. Inner elbows lifting up, hips reaching back to your heels, and breathe. When you're ready, lift up to your hands and your knees for a tabletop position. Realign your shins toward each other. Inhale, drop your belly, lift up your heart. Exhale, press into a cat pose. Tuck your toes, press your hips up and back, downward facing dog. All right, I'm gonna be offering an option here for a flip dog. If that's in your practice, let's do it. If it is not, then simply stay in the tripod dog position. So just so you know it's coming. Don't want it to be too much of a surprise. Inhale, right leg comes up and back. Bend your knee, open up through your hips. Point your right knee up toward the ceiling. Make sure your left heel is hidden behind your toes. And then if you'd like, you're gonna take a flip dog. Take a little bend to your left knee. Start to let your right foot drop behind you. Your right hand lifts up, spiral up. Press through both feet. I prefer my right palm facing down. If you went up, do what's best for you. If you prefer not to take this full variation, you'll just stay in the open hip variation of a tripod dog. Those of you in the flip, on an exhale, spiral all the way back. Your hand comes down, your leg will follow. Everyone else, make sure that your right leg is extended for a tripod dog. Exhale, take your knee to your right elbow or tricep. Inhale, take it up toward the ceiling. This time, exhale, take your knee to your nose and place your foot between your hands towards your right thumb. Angle your left foot down. Really drop your hips here. So we're coming first into warrior two legs. Press to the outer edge of your left foot. And then keeping your hips low on an exhale, come into warrior two. So again, finding those spaces between your thoughts. What's happening when you have to take that slow? Shrug your shoulders back. Make sure that your shoulders are parallel to the long side of your mat, and then wrap left elbow underneath right. We're gonna take garudasana arms. If that's not right for you, hands to your shoulders. Keeping your hips low, inhale, send your chin up, your fingertips up, exhale, curl in. Bring your elbows in, round your spine. Maybe bring your elbows to your belly. Inhale to lift up. Exhale, curl in. Third time, inhale, lift up. Exhale, curl in. Lift back up. Unravel your arms back to warrior two. Straighten the front leg. We're gonna take a trikonasana. Send your hips back. Reach forward as far as you can, and then on an exhale, right hand comes down. Maybe your hands come to your shin or to the mat. Left fingertips come up. Maybe even take your left hand to your right rib cage and then physically manipulate yourself so you're wrapping your right rib cage upward. Is that different? Is it the same? And whenever you're ready, take your left fingertips back up toward the ceiling. Continue pressing through both feet. On an exhale, you're gonna press back to that warrior two pose. Sit low. Nice. Sweep your left hand towards the front of the room, pivot onto the ball of your back foot. You're in a high crescent lunge. On an exhale, you're going to sweep your arms back, lean forward, take your right hip back with you so everything is squared. Inhale, come back to high lunge. Exhale, sweep it back. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, sweep back. This time, take your hands down to the mat. We're gonna look forward. We're gonna move to a standing splits pose. So it might be helpful to pop your left foot in just a little bit. If you're like, nah, I just wanna fly. Then, no matter what, take your hands out in front of you. On an exhale, maybe even take like a little like sharp exhale so you can feel your core. You're going to launch forward, left leg eventually will lift or just drag along the mat with you. Elbows point back, inhale, lift up halfway, a bit like a supported warrior 3. Exhale, hinge forward. Right here, I challenge you to play with your balance. Right hand comes behind your right calf. Point your left pinky toes down, engage through both legs, and then start to walk the left hand to stack on top of the right. The worst thing that could possibly happen right now is you have to take your hands down. Like the worst thing. Okay, take your hands down to your mat, set your left foot next to your right, ragdoll pose. Your variation, whether you take a sway or being still right now is the best choice. Then release your fingertips down to the mat. Inhale, left up halfway. And then you're gonna cross your left ankle in front of your right so that the outsides of your feet are starting to line up. Bow down. Inhale, lift up halfway. Place your left foot where it was. Same but different. Cross your right ankle over your left. The outsides of your feet are probably touching. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, lift up halfway. Place your right foot next to the left so you've got parallel feet. Forward fold. And then when you're ready, you're going to come all the way up to standing. Arms wide or out in front of you, chin up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Come to Tadasana. 5 breaths. At the end of your 5th breath, inhale, chin lifts, arms lift. Exhale, forward fold. Breath in, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step back to top of plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga to or toward your mat. Untuck toes for a cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Again, same options as on this side before. Inhale, left leg come up and back. On an exhale, take your knee, bend your knee, open up your hips. And then option to stay here, or if you'd like, drop your left foot behind you, lift your hips up, spiral back, flip dog. Really press everything that's touching the mat. And then when you're ready, on an exhale, your left hand spirals back. We'll all come back to that tripod dog position. On an exhale, take your knee to your left elbow, shift it forward, keep your heel lifted. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, place your foot between your hands towards your left thumb. Awesome. Step your right foot in just a bit. We're going to set up legs for warrior 2. Drop your left hip. Reach out through your inner left thigh. Set up yourself for success first. Give yourself everything, all the supports, all the foundation you need. And then when you're ready, on an exhale, unravel to your warrior 2. First, look out beyond your left middle finger, shrug your shoulders back. Make sure you've got equal weight as best you can between your front and back leg. Then turn your torso toward the long side of your mat. Eagle arms, right elbows on the bottom, wrapping once or twice, or just hands to your shoulders. Inhale, lift up your fingertips, send up your chin. Exhale, curl forward, keep reaching out to the inner left knee, inner left thigh that is. Inhale, come up. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, curl up. Exhale, pull in. Lift up and then unravel your arms back to warrior 2. Straighten the left leg, we move to trikonasana. Send your hips back, reach forward. Exhale, left fingertips come down, right hand comes up. And if it was helpful on the first side, as you're wrapping your left rib cage up, so first of all, you can use your left hand simply for leverage to assist, but you've also got this right hand hanging out. You take it to your left rib cage, draw it up. Inner elbow of your left arm, reaching toward the front of your mat. And then when you're ready, on an exhale, take it back to your warrior 2 pose. Sweep your arm toward the front of the room. Put it onto the ball of your back foot. You're in a high crescent lunge. Really spike up through that back heel if you're looking for more zhuzh. On an exhale, lean forward, swing your arms back, your palms are down. Inhale, take it back up. Exhale, lean forward, arms back. Inhale, take it up. Third time like this. Take it back, left thigh draws back, and then simply drop your hands to the mat whenever you're ready. There's no rush. And we're gonna move toward that standing splits again. So either keep your right leg where it is and just like power yourself through, or take a little hop forward, no matter what. On your exhale, come forward, lean forward. Right leg will either drag you against the mat or lift straight up. Inhale halfway, kind of like a supported warrior 3. Really lift up long through the left thigh. Exhale, descend your chest down. And once again, I challenge you, just go ahead and try the balance. Left hand to your back of your left calf. And then start to walk the right hand in as well. Lots of activity through the lifted leg. If you fall, you fall. It's fine. You're still a good person. Okay, whenever you're ready, hands down to the mat for stability. And then release your right foot next to the left. Ragdoll pose, your variation. Whether you choose to take a bind, sway, find stillness. Inhale, lift up halfway. You're gonna cross your right ankle over your left, aiming to have the outsides of your feet touching. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, uncross, and then cross left ankle over right. Bow down again. Inhale, so you can place your feet alongside each other, hips width distance, forward fold. When you're ready, on an inhale, come all the way up to standing. Take up space. Gather it up, and on the exhale, bring it in towards your heart. Option to keep your hands here in your heart center or alongside your body. 5 breaths. When you're ready, inhale, arms lift up, send your chin up. Exhale, forward fold. Breath in, halfway lift, offer out. Exhale, fold, make your way back to downward facing dog. Perhaps you take a vinyasa or 45, or just press back. Do what is best for you. Make sure you take at least 3 rounds of breath in your downward facing dog, konasana. Then at the end of that third exhale, drop your knees to your mat, toes to touch, hips to heels, child's pose. Maybe you'd like to take a more restful child's pose here rather than active arms. This choice is yours. We will be here for 5 breaths. After your 5th exhale, whenever that occurs, begin your transition back to a downward facing dog. We're going to take that sequence, change it up, but you'll be generally familiar with what we're going to be doing. Deep breath in and a full exhale. Inhale, right leg comes up and back, bend your knee, open up your hips. If you like, flip dog, bend through your left knee to protect your joints as you spiral around. Lift up through your heart, press down for everything touching the mat. All right, and on your exhale, we're all going to return back to that tripod dog, right leg lifted. On an exhale, take your knee to your right tricep, shift it forward, keep your heel lifted. Inhale up and back. Exhale, this time place your foot to the outside of your right hand. Left knee can be up or down as we move toward a lizard pose. Also, if you'd like a prop nearby, take a prop. I'm going to be practicing with knee down for this one. On an exhale, start to bend your elbows back. Maybe you find that that's plenty good, or forearms or block. Gently draw your right knee in close to your shoulder. And soften through your face. Soften through your fingertips. When you're ready, start to press up through your hands. If your left knee is down, pop it up. Make sure your right toes are pointed out slightly to the side. So pointed to the right, that is. We're going to move toward a malasana pose. Left foot comes to the outside of your left hand. So either take several steps or look forward, kind of like we were doing when we were moving to our standing splits. Exhale. Left foot comes to the outside, toes out, heels in. Start to drop your hips down. Elbows to the insides of your knees, palms press. Drop your hips as much as feels comfortable here. Comfort is relative. Again, find the spaces between your thoughts. What comes up? Allow yourself to observe with kindness and acceptance. On an exhale, drop your hands. Start to lift up your hips, use your hands for support. Realign your feet so they are hips width distance. Step your left foot to the back of your mat, so you're in a low lunge. Angle to warrior two legs. Drop your right hip. Notice if anything is different than the first time. Maybe yeah, maybe nah. When you're ready, exhale, unravel, warrior two, sit low. I've got these like creepy shadows behind me. All right, we're gonna take eagle arms, garudasana, left elbows on the bottom, wrapping once or wrapping twice. Option is stay right here or moving with me, inhale, lift up. Exhale, curl in, round your spine. Inhale up. Exhale, second time. Inhale up. Exhale, curl in, third time. Awesome. Lift up. When you're ready, unravel your arms back to warrior two. Look beyond your right middle finger. Drop your tailbone and then straighten the leg. We move to trikonasana pose. Let that straightening of your leg just really extend outward, lean forward. Right hand tick tuck down, left fingertips are up. Any way that you can manipulate yourself in this posture, whether it's just by pressing through your feet and then lifting up, or you can always take your left hand to help you. Remember to really, really press down to the outer edge of your left foot. Notice if that can accentuate a stretch through the sides of your body. On an exhale, return back to warrior two. Deep bend into the front knee. You're going to cycle towards the front of the room, coming to a high crescent lunge. Option to stay here or to move with me. On an exhale, shift your heart forward, arms back, palms down. Inhale, back up. Release back up through your back heel. Exhale, take it down. Inhale up. Third time. And then when you're ready, drop your hands down to your mat. We move to the standing splits and your gaze a little bit long. Exhale, hop forward, drag your foot, lift it up. At least once, lift out halfway. Exhale, dive your chest down to your thigh. So this might feel kind of like when we're on our backs, same but different orientation of our torso for sure. And then play with your balance. Right hand first behind the calf, and then moving to the left. All right, take your hands back down to the mat for support. A little bit of changing up here. Bend your standing knee, tuck your left knee behind it, and then come all the way down to a seat on your mat. Your legs are all twisted up. If your right hip is like really shining away from the mat, extend your left leg in front of you. Otherwise, we're gonna move to a ardha matseyandrasana pose. Right hand behind you, fingertips away. Inhale, lift up. Exhale to twist. Maybe draw your knee in close to you or take your elbow to the outside of your knee. See if you can find lots of space through the sides of your body. Send your gaze beyond your right shoulder. Offer yourself acceptance. Take a moment to note what's going on. On an exhale, take your head back to center. Unravel, counter twist to the other side. You might know what's coming. We're gonna switch sides. So either you like switch out your legs or yoga magic, keep spinning in that direction and your legs will twist. It's amazing. More things to be grateful for in our bodies. Fun stuff like that. Fingertips away, lean back of your left hand, lift up your right fingertips. Exhale to twist, either drawing your knee close or elbow to the outside. Active through your fingertips. Both hands, that is. On an exhale, take your head back to center. Unravel, take a counter twist over to the right. No funny stuff, unless you like funny stuff. Lift up. And then you're just gonna roll over onto your hands and your knees for a tabletop pose. Inhale, drop belly for a cow. Exhale, press up into cat. And then make your way back to downward facing dog. If you'd like to take a vinyasa between sides, now is a nice opportunity to do that. From your downward facing dog, inhale, left leg comes up and back, bend your knee, open up through your hips, really point the knee up. And then if you want to take a flip dog, then lift through your right knee first, and then cycle all the way around. This is up to you. What are your boundaries? What have you set for yourself to keep yourself safe, to offer yourself love? And then we'll all, on an exhale, come back to a tripod dog with the left leg lifted. On an exhale, take your knee to your left tricep. Keep your heel lifted as much as you can. Inhale, take it up and back. Exhale, this time place your foot to the outside of your left hand. Might be helpful to have your toes slightly out to the side. If you had your knee down on the first side, I recommend dropping it on the other as well. Or if it was up, stay up. Reach your heart forward, inhale. And then on an exhale, begin your descent. Softening where you can. Gently drawing your knee up so it's just not splaying out to the side, that's all. Nothing too serious. Notice if you've got like serious grip on your fingers, let it get softer. Where you're holding on is creating more difficulty than you really need. And then when you're ready, start to press up. Maybe you're on a block, you need to set to the side. Come up to your hands. And if your back knee is dropped to the mat, tuck your toes, lift it up. Make sure your left toes are slightly pointed out. We're gonna move to that malasana pose. So in several steps or just one, look forward like we were doing our standing splits. On an exhale, step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Toes out, heels in, start to drop them down. And if you find that your heels are like rising up and away, take your mat, curl it up so that you can place your heels on top of it. You've got a little bit of lift here. When you're ready, take your hands down to the mat for some support. Start to lift your hips up. And then bring your feet back so they are aligned to each other. Bend your knees. Step your right foot all the way to the back of your mat. And then angle your foot down, get your lower body in warrior two. Draw out your left hip underneath you so you're reaching out with your inner left thigh. And then when you're ready, warrior two. Spiral your way up. Eagle arms if you choose to take them. Right elbow underneath. Inhale, point your fingertips and your chin up. Exhale, draw your elbows towards your belly, curl in. Again, inhale, lift up. Exhale, curl in. Third time. Then lift up, unravel, come back to your warrior two. Straighten the front leg, reach your hips back. Lean forward, reach forward. Exhale, left hand comes down, your konasana pose. All the ways that you know how to get there, what is serving you best, what is best for you now. Now changes. And then on an exhale, press through your feet, come back to warrior two. Looking towards the front of your mat. Scoot your right arm to the front, pivot on the ball of the back foot. You're in a high crescent lunge. Option to stay here or move with me on an exhale. Lean forward, swing your arms back, palms are down, like you're launching up. Inhale, come up. Exhale. Inhale, come up. Exhale. And then whenever you're ready, drop your hands down to the mat. We're gonna take it forward to that half splits. Right leg will lift or drags along the mat. Lift up through your left thigh. You're lifting up halfway, so it's a bit like a supported warrior 3 first, and then dive down. Challenge your balance. I mean, really, why not? Left hand behind the calf first, and then take your right. All right, take your hands back down to the mat for support. Some more funny business. Bend your left knee, tuck your right knee behind the left, and then come all the way down onto your bum. All kinds of twisted up. Again, if you find your left hip is really rising away, extend your right leg out in front of you. Left hand behind, fingertips point away. Lean back, inhale, lift up your right arm. Exhale, twist, drawing your knee close to you, or elbow to the outside. Take your head back to the center, changing up your gaze, unravel, counter twist over to the right. And then we're gonna switch out the legs, so either do some yoga magic or just swap them out. Right hand behind you considerably, so you can lean back. Take a deep breath in, really take up space. Exhale, twist. Your hand placement, whether it's to wrap around the knee or take the elbow to the outside. Take your gaze back to the front of the mat. Unhook, unravel, counter twist over to the other side. Drop your head, get soft, get low. And then lift your way back up. Roll over your hands and your knees or come back to a tabletop pose. First, take one cow pose, dropping your belly, lift up your hips and your heart. Make sure your inner elbows are facing forward. Exhale, press up to your cat. Now come back to the neutral spine. We're going to take a anahatasana pose, so melting heart pose, sometimes called puppy dog. So you want to make sure that your hips are over your knees, low belly's in, give yourself lots of support. Walk your hands out toward the corners of your yoga mat. Have your inner elbows up, really support yourself. And then as you're ready, you're going to start to descend your heart down. Notice if your hips slide back, you're going to have to switch yourself forward a bit. You might stay real far away from your mat. You might come down where your chest touches or your chin touches. These are just different expressions of the posture. Keep your belly strong. Keep your hands engaged. When you're ready, start to press your way up. Again, keep your belly strong. Lengthen out through your spine as you lift up. Walk your hands back underneath you. Press more weight to your left palm, to your right fingertips up toward the ceiling. And then on an exhale, you're going to thread the needle, right elbow or shoulder comes underneath you. And then your right ear comes down to the mat. You can stay right here if you'd like to take this further. I am a big fan of these variations. If you find tightness in your shoulders, you might as well. Also just tightness generally in your chest. So first walk your left fingertips out. Inner elbow points up, spider fingers here. And then tiptoe those fingers over toward the right corner of your mat. So, you know, your arm and your head are going to get in the way of each other a little bit. So there's a little bit of negotiating going on. Soften on all your exhales. And then wiggle your left hand back if you took that variation. And then we'll all take the left hand back underneath your left shoulder. Press through the left hand, put your right fingertips up. Stay here with this open arm experience. And then exhale, take your right hand down, shift the weight to that hand. Left fingertips come up, open. Thread left arm underneath, come on to left shoulder, left cheek. And then I encourage you to take a similar variation that you did on the first side. And then as you're ready, if you took that variation with your right hand, very carefully start to walk back. Make sure that your right hand is about below your right shoulder. Press through that, left fingertips come open. We'll stay here for a full cycle of breath. And then take your hand back down to the mat. Come all the way down onto your belly and then flip onto your back. If you've got a block nearby, bring it closer. So first we're going to take a figure 4 pose here. Cross right ankle over your left thigh. Without using your hands, try to pull your left knee close to you. Just notice about where you go with that active range of motion. And then use your hands to, right hand through the hole you've created, clasp on your thigh or your shin, and then start to bring your leg closer to you. Your right knee presses away. And again, depending on where you are right now, what your boundaries are, what the best way to care for yourself is, you're either going to be pressing your low back into the mat as you do this, or you can just let it curl up. Release the clasp on your left leg, keep your ankle crossed, and then slide your right thigh over your left, so you're crossing your legs. Bump both your hips over to the right and then drop your knees over to the left. If this deep twist is not speaking to you right now, simply unravel your legs. Like we did toward the beginning of class, we took a more simpler supine twist. Press your elbows and upper arms into the mat, lift up, and then rotate so your right shoulder blade is more firmly on the mat. Deeper twist here. Send the gaze to the right if that is accessible to you. Send your gaze back up to center. Press your feet to lift up. Realign your hips. Uncross your legs. Take your feet wider than your hips, parallel to the edges of your mat. Drop both knees over to the right. Send knees to the center. Drop both knees over to the left. Bring them back to the center. Realign your heels so that they're in line with your hips. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh. No hands. Bring your right thigh in close to you. See how far you can go like this. And then incorporate your hands here. See if you can take the opposite clasp. And then take the same or similar level of intensity that you did on the first side. So again, maybe this means pressing your hips down and you're getting like a super deep stretch through your outer hip, or maybe you need to be a little bit less assertive with yourself. Release the clasp of your hands so your foot drops. Slide your left thigh on top of your right. Press through your outer elbows and upper arms to lift up your hips and scoot your hips over to the left. Drop both knees to the right. Use that same energy. Press up your back and then you're going to rotate a little bit so your left shoulder is more flat onto your mat, and perhaps that will facilitate twisting your head toward the left. When you're ready, exhale, take your head up to center. Press your feet to lift your knees up. Lift up your hips, realign them. Uncross your legs. Take your feet out a little bit wider, feet parallel to the edges of your mat. Drop both knees over to your left. Send the knees back up to the center, then drop both knees over to the right. And then bring up to the center again. Start to walk your feet in toward each other so that your knees, your hips, your heels are all kind of in the same plane, and we're going to take that supported bridge pose. So if you've got a block nearby, recommendation, oops, that was not first or second height. this top height, it's like the block is just so narrow, it gets kind of weird. So I think first or second is really going to be the best here. It's going to hopefully feel the most supported and restful, and that's what we're after right now. If you don't have a block, you can simply come to like a more relaxed bridge pose, just like not so active. But if you're doing supported, first or second height, wave up your spine like you were coming to bridge, but then slide the block underneath you so it is resting against your sacrum. So like half of your bum is going to be hanging off. It's like the flattish bone. If you're like uncertain, take your hand to your low back. There's going to be kind of like this divot. And that's where you want to feel supported. You might have to find a little bit of adjustment to see where that is. I'm just checking in. If there's anybody who's not finding it, give me a wave. Okay. For your arms, you can take your arms out wide. You can take one hand on heart, belly, look to your chest, or something else that seems to make sense for you. And if you're perfectly comfortable here and you'd really prefer not to shake things up, then stay where you are. The next pose I'm offering and suggesting is a supported shoulder stand. So again, if you don't have a block, all you do is extend your legs up to the ceiling. However, if you do have the block, you can stay at the height you're at, or you can lower it if that feels more comfortable to you. You're going to press your low back into the block, engage your belly, get strong, then bring your knees up over your hips, and then extend your heels up toward the ceiling. You're in a supported shoulder stand. If you feel like this is too much pressure on your neck, then bend your knees and come back the same way you came. So in this inversion, feet are up, your feet would support you. Almost all of the time, we spend so much time on our feet and we forget the pressures and the stresses that we place. We forget that we're working hard all the time and that rest is necessary. If you've taken supported shoulder stand, slowly start to bend your knees again. Find some engagement through your core, through your belly, especially as you're coming to the place where your feet are coming down to tap the mat. Press your feet just enough and through your shoulder blades to lift up your hips, slide the block away, and then wave your spine back down onto the mat. Start to walk the soles of your feet toward each other. We're going to take a supta baddha konasana pose. So we took a baddha konasana variation earlier in class. We're going to take a similar one now. Soles of feet together, knees come out wide. There's going to be a lot of personal preference in just the way your body is shaped, what makes us comfortable. You might find that it's best to take your arms alongside you, press through the outer edges of your feet, your shoulder blades, lift up your hips, and then slide your tailbone down just a bit more. This might provide you with a little bit more openness. If that's not working for you, then come to a place where you find support. If this is much too much, you can always bend your knees or place a prop underneath each of your knees. And then here, I invite you to take a hand to heart, a hand to belly. If another position makes more sense to you, then please select that. The next posture that we offer in this class is Shavasana. If this pose makes sense for you to take as your Shavasana, then simply make sure that you're comfortable and you can remain still. If you prefer to take a more traditional Shavasana, or maybe you want to move to legs up wall or the supported shoulder stand if a wall is not nearby. Take your hands to the backs of your thighs and start to guide your knees toward each other. Feet flat to the mat. And then I invite you to take your version of Shavasana, whether it's traditional or something slightly different, like an inversion or staying in a Supta pose. Recognize the space between your thoughts. Offer yourself some love and kindness in these moments. And as you're ready, start to take some smaller movements throughout your body, eventually rolling over onto your right side to pause for several moments. And in time, when you're ready, make your way to a seated posture for a brief reflection and meditation. On inhale, reach your arms out and up, send your chin upward, and on an exhale, take your thumbs to the space between your eyebrows for clarity of thought, to your lips for clarity of speech, to your heart for clarity of action. Bow your head to your heart, acknowledging that what your heart knows, places where your heart can infuse spaces between your thoughts, offering yourself non-harm, complete acceptance, and loving kindness, the kind that no one else can provide to yourself except for yourself. Thank you so much for taking this time to explore within yourself, both in the physical and in other ways, and thank you for sharing that with me. In the name of the highest good, namaste.